Check.
Okay. So niongelele cause. So nitaongelea verb alafu cons and then yana atafanya left. So the verb hapo. So before var ndasema kwanza ni explain definition ya scope juu tunaweza dianse scope na highlight scope ni nini. So scope inamaanishanga like the location of the variable before using location of the variable before using it. So you find like when I say here I come and say like var is a global scope. I'll be meaning like it is declared to the function and then you can use it now. So for instance, let me come and say okay. Let me say what do you say? Let me say the name equals to Roy. Reason like reason. And so when I mean also the function, so I can come and say like function how do I new function reason. So this function is not declared inside the scope. That is global scope, but it's declared outside. So when I come and declare it inside here, that's when I can come and say there's a functional scope. So that's from the difference between functional scope and global scope. When I say the function, it's a global scope, and inside it's a functional scope. So okay, but the other thing I can say about it is used to declare three functions, and so not function, I mean variable. So when you declare a variable, you come and store it inside a var. It has to it's for hoisting. So hoisting is whereby you declare a variable before using it. So for example, like I come and say control dot love. I can come and say name, and then outside and then I come here outside and say that name equals to Roy. So I'll have used this function before calling it. So that is what hoisting is. And then what else about that? Don't think there's anything else. So then okay, currently I cannot advise to use that. I prefer using that, and then but for let Ian will explain it a lot on it. And then the second thing I also do is about const. const. So this means when you declare something, it cannot be changed. So for const, I can come and say, for example, const greeting equals to let me say name, and then partner, for example, and then give correct. Yeah. So when it comes to change based on outside, I cannot come and say I cannot come and say const name equals to no equals to baby. Then for constant, I'm not supposed to do this one, but there's a way you can change the objects that are inside the const creating name, and then I can change to maybe uh yeah, yeah. So the major difference between var and const uh, is by for var. Okay, for var you can update it and also you can declare it, but for const you cannot update it or declare it again. Mm-hmm. I think there's nothing else about it. Maybe Yana can touch it on let's.
Yeah, so you've done a good job. Before you
Yeah,
stop sharing, let's go through your code a bit.
yeah,
So can you go to line 1, your very first line?
yeah. There's one.
Okay. So scope, location of the variable before you. So scope is so for example, your code on line 9, your variable, it's scoped
Yeah,
within that function.
yeah. So it's a function block.
So it's
Function
yes,
scope. I
it's
mean, yeah,
function scope. So
yeah,
we have a number of scopes. We have
yeah,
global scope, we have
hmm,
function scope,
yeah.
and I think we also have lexical scope. Can't remember exactly what the third one does. But
Yeah.
when we do get into scopes and closures in our FP, we're going to go through it. But for now, like
Mm-hmm.
just to have a high overview of what scope is, where did you declare your variables? Like
Yeah.
zilikuwa declared wapi? So for example, the way Roy was explaining, the name is being declared inside of that function, right? So var, when you declare a variable with the var keyword, it's globally scoped. So it doesn't matter whether it's inside of function. If you try to access it in, if you try to access hapo juu ama hapo chini console log name, right, you're going to get it even though it's being declared pale ndani. Hata ukitoa hiyo hapo, if you remove the one on line 5,
Yeah.
you'll still be able to get the other one.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Function.
Yeah. Okay. Was the issue? I think consent in between spaces. Okay. Yeah.
Why can't we see it?
Ah, I don't know what I've done.
What happened?
Let me back. It's gonna declare the same.
We should be able to see that value
And it's gonna
because when you use okay, so the best way to actually show what I mean
yeah.
is, can you create an index file, because we should have been able to see that thing, because they're normally hoisted or is nafakwa on the global
Quite,
scope.
quite
Can you
ML.
yeah, create an HTML file? Do we see it in the browser? The browser is easier to see.
Okay.
So just link your JS file. Okay, and then you can start it. Open the dev tools.
Yeah.
Go to console. Okay.
Oh yeah. It is.
You can see it's there, Sindio.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're trying to run it with Node.js. So Node.js behaves a bit differently.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a difference. So let's go back to your code. So nezeziaka side by side so that we go through the examples. Okay,
Yeah.
so we can declare variables in 3 ways. We can use let, we can use var, or const. Let and const are what is called block scoped. So what it means is, now the variable we created, can you comment out the rest of your code? What's it to line 5?
Okay. Nito line 5 peke yake.
What's line 5 peke yake? Comment out hiyo ingine yote, back to line 5.
Okay.
Okay, now we have a variable called name that is equal to Roy. Now, if we check, if you go into your browser sasa, to go into the browser, ukirudi kwa your browser, if you open the window object, you're going to find a variable called name. Just andika tu, even if you just write name, andika tu name. Si ndio hiyo.
Yeah.
You see what it does? When you use var, it puts it in the global scope, which means itaiweka kwa the window object. It will include it as a value in the window object, which is obviously not a good thing. Because you can imagine if you have a variable that has the same name as, for example, an inbuilt method or an inbuilt object, honest clash, and it's not nice. You're not supposed to populate the window object. So the problem with var is that you develop the window object. So that's why you now have let and const. Now, if you go back to your code and rename, instead of
Yeah.
using var, use let now. Look near let.
Yeah.
Now go back to the browser.
Yeah.
Try to access it again. Just refresh the page.
It's the same.
Do we have another var anywhere in the code?
Okay, let me check. No, the only one that function.
That's very weird. It's not supposed to put that one in. You opened na live server.
Yeah.
Yes. Go back to the UI again.
Back to?
Go back to the browser.
Okay.
Close the DevTools. Just close the DevTools.
Yeah.
Zifungue tena.
Okay. Thanks.
Try to look for name again. But that's very odd. What am I missing? Let's see. That's not supposed to be in the window.
It's supposed to be different.
It's not supposed to be in the. It's not supposed to populate the window object. When you use let, you think kind of a window object, unless it's one who's been having it wrong all this time. Joseph, isn't that the case, Amma? When you use let, it's not supposed to populate it for the window object.
Maybe, I think you're still using it as a global object there. That's why it's still being shown up there. I think if you maybe create like a block scope, it won't be there. But for the var, if you put the var inside a function, you'll still be able to access it globally. But if you put a let inside a function, you'll only be able to access it inside that block scope of that function. So I think that will but if you put it just outside, it will still show because it's still like the global scope.
Really, I don't know why I've always thought. Let me just confirm, because I thought when you use let, it's not supposed to, even if you're using it globally, I thought it doesn't populate the window object.
Outside the function, yeah.
Outside the function. Let me see. Because they are blocks code by default. They come as blocks code. Can you do window open in up to the browser?
Yeah.
Do window.name.
Pardon?
Andika window.name. Okay, then I guess Nimimi, I'm the one who's wrong. Because I always thought it doesn't populate the. Okay, I guess you can.
Live server go on. Are you using live server? To me, live server, refresh.
Yeah, it's live server icon.
It's running. Yeah, go try to define another variable using var and a new function. Maybe var name too. Let's give it a name.
Another one? Okay.
Just another one, yeah. Var name 2 is equals to like another name.
Okay. Yeah.
And then now go to like line 4 and then try to log out that var name2.
This one.
Yeah, like you can log it out on the, because it will be hoisted. You can still access it outside that function even before it's been defined.
Okay.
Like console log name2. No, not like that. On line 4, just console log name2.
Line 4.
Just up there, console log name2. And then console log name also. Then let's go and see what happens. Okay, let's go to the browser. Name2 is not defined because it has local scope to that function.
Yeah,
but
sure.
this, can you refresh it? I think you should be able to access that var name2, because just go and like comment out that var name2.
Okay.
Comment out line 5 because it's causing that error. And then let's see whether name2 will print as expected.
Okay.
You can just refresh.
Kuna ingine hapo chini pia, there's another one. Yeah.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Okay. Still the same.
Refresh.
Name2 is not defined.
Is this is this broken or something? Maybe you can close that and open it again.
Something doesn't seem to be working correctly.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because ni vile najua let is not put in the window object.
Okay, on strict mode, it will not be put in the window object.
Yeah.
But where is that like name2 coming from?
Hey, when is it even empty?
It's name2, add the 2.
Okay. Name2 is not defined.
Weird.
If I may just ask a question.
Yeah, you guys also try it on your end. Try to like declare let, and then see whether you're going to see it in the global scope. Because I'm also doing the same thing.
Okay, maybe just check on the function. I don't know. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, because we have declared a function called new function, but you have not called it anywhere. So definitely trying to console log it on line 4. I think we'll just get an error.
So should you log in again?
Yeah, try call the function. I think you might be onto something. Just execute the function down there first. And then now let's see what happens.
Okay. Nice. So
it should not make a difference because when you're hoisting, you host everything, even things that are within a function, even before you call it. So that's about what we only. Let's try also on our end to on something. Don't stop usiache kushare. Let's just see. So just have a index file and then try to declare variables using both var and let, then see whether you can see them in the global scope. So just create a JS file. So var, I'm doing the same thing. Whoever is able to get like a different response or result, you can just tell us as we try, because that I mean Jaribu on my end.
Okay, just a suggestion. Maybe just a comment. So based on the, like when we create a function called the new function, it has created its own scope. And I guess that's where we have the variable name row is stored and the variable name var2 stored. So I guess trying to access, let's say, the variable name outside the that scope, I think we shall just definitely get an error because we're trying to access a scope that is not, can I say, within range, that is not, I don't know, just
Yeah,
something about to do the global and the local scope. That's why
I
you're
think
getting error on line 4 with
Okay,
the line 4.
so I've tried it on my end.
yeah.
Has anyone else tried it before mtu mwingine amejaribu? Did you try to check and see whether you're getting the same response?
I'm getting the same response.
You're also getting let, when it's defined with let, you're getting it in the global scope.
Unaona vile inakuja kinini inakam the same way. Yeah, there's two dots hapo. I don't know relative value but haina shida. But when I use var inaniambia it's undefined.
So the issue is with whatever code ameandika, because initially what we are trying to look at is the difference between let and const
var.
and constant var. So let me just share my screen. Kiasi, right?
Okay, fine.
So let me share my screen. So you can see my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I have one with var here and I have one with let. So I'm console logging both. Let me split my screen. I am console logging both here. So the first one is John, the second one is Smith. So if I say first name, I'm getting it. So it's true. So whatever Joseph was saying, it's the same thing. It's the same result you're getting. It looks like as long as the global scope, you will find it, regardless of whether you use let or const. I've always thought that it doesn't populate the window object, but it looks like it does. Window.second. Okay, window dot first name. So it is available. So I've seen what the difference is. I don't know whether you guys have seen. So if I use window dot first name, I can find it. If I use window dot second name, undefined. So this does populate, it puts it within your execution context. So currently we are executing this up2.js. So second name is there because of that, but it's not being put in the window object as opposed to var. Var will populate it in your window object. I don't know whether you can see that difference. Window.first name is John, window dot second name undefined. So what you guys were talking about in terms of hoisting, let's see. This, I remove this and I put it here. And then now we are trying to access it before we initialize it. Now, if we use the same now, even this is not showing. Okay, this is because of this. Toa hii should be able to get it. So you can see with var, it's being hoisted. It's being put at the top of the execution context. There's something called an execution context. So when your JS file runs the first time, it goes and checks hizo vitu zote ziko na var, the function keyword, and puts them on top of the execution context before it does anything else. That's why you can, no, this is supposed to be vice versa. It's undefined. This should have worked also. Are we getting undefined?
Ian, I think it's okay because it doesn't work with the assignment. It works with the declarations, if I'm not wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's working with the way synchronous works. The first one has to be executed, then the second one. So I guess it's because of the synchronousness in JavaScript.
That's very weird. That should
For me, it's actually showing the way it's supposed to show. So I don't know why it's acting that weirdly. Like I can console log it before I declare it, and it's showing on the browser right now. But I don't know why it's so strange. I think that's why they decided to like rule out this var thing. So confusing.
Yeah, because like if you think about like to Pauline's point, so what happens when you're doing when hoisting is happening? Yes, it will still read your code like top toka juu mpaka chini, but it will get whatever has the var keyword or the function keyword, and it will put them on top of the execution context. So before it runs anything else, these values will always be available to you. So I don't know why it's not showing.
Ian, I think from what I read is that, okay, it doesn't cause an error, but it can't show the name John, like in this case. It just shows undefined because it works with just a declaration, not the assignment. Like it's showing undefined. I think I read somewhere in the docs.
So just when you're declaring. So
yeah, the declaration, but it doesn't show an error. It can show the assignment itself, the whatever you assign to that variable.
Can it allow you to check the type, maybe?
Let's see. Undefined. The type is undefined. Okay, then definitely we'll need to like do more research, because now you see like the weird parts of JS, because that's very weird. It means I've known for years that I've always thought, but the thing we've been doing all along, like for the example, the project we've been doing, have we not been putting like consts chinia where we actually use them and they're working? That's weird.
Actually, when you read the CN, it's talking about declarations. You just declared the variable, not the assigning of the value. So it's just talking about the declarations. And even they're showing that example of undefined. As long as it's not causing the error. Okay.
Yeah, Ian. Do you have Firefox?
I do.
I think it's browser dependent. For me, it's working on Firefox.
Really?
The way it's supposed to do, like showing the, like you can access it before declaring it. I think maybe Chrome has like inbuilt strict mode or something. That could be the reason why it's not working.
Yeah, because I've never seen this.
Try it on Firefox.
Where is my window? It's still undefined.
Ian.
Ian.
Yangu inaleta if you declare let kwa global scope haileti ama mnasemaje? Kwangu ina display. I'm hitting the
window.
name. No, not on the window. When I type name, I can get the value.
Yeah. So that's the difference. Like when you're using var, inaiweka kwa the actual window object. So if you say window dot first name and first name is a var, then it's there. But if you use let, you'll still be able to access it because it's of a global scope, but it's not being put in the window object.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Joseph, you can see in mine, I'm getting undefined.
Give it a value, line 3.
Yeah. Give it a value. It's still undefined. That's weird. I think this one will have to do some research because this is very weird. Me, I've known for years. That's how I've been using it, forever. I know nilikuwa najua that first name of var, when it's hoisted together with anything that has the function keyword, they're put on top of it. They always put value true when you want to execute your code. So this is very weird behavior. But according to Nani, anasema tu when you're declaring it, not when you're assigning it. Let's see. My console log, say hello. So the function is being hoisted. Right here, you can see the function is here, but this one is undefined. So I guess we don't know JS. There's a book called You Don't Know JS. I think it's true. Very weird. But at least we've learned something new today.
If you return something from the function, will it be shown?
Let's try. It should. No. I'm not calling the function. I just want to see what's inside. We're not calling it because the point of the hoisting is not to see whether it's returning anything. It's just to see whether it's actually accessible. So even if you return hakuna tofauti, it's still showing it here.
Okay.
It's still showing it here. It means it's being put at the top of the execution context. Who knew we would spend so much time on let and const? What? Okay. So the two, let and const, are block scoped. So let's go back to that example that Roy had done. Now I'm not even sure whether it's going to behave the way we want it to behave. Put this here. Am I using first name? This one will definitely need to do some research unless they changed something like in the language specification. Ama ni mimi ndio sijui. Joseph, is this not this behavior is this what you've been encountering all along with JavaScript?
It's actually pretty weird. You're supposed to be able to access it before defining it.
Could you maybe try using it, not just accessing it? I don't know if it makes sense, but because what is the essence of hoisting when you cannot use it?
No, hoisting is for the actual. It's an implementation of the language. So it goes through the code, looks for the things that have those keywords, and then it will put them on top of it.
Yeah, I understand that. Like the functions we normally use them before even declaring them. So you can call a function before you even declare it.
Okay.
Now, maybe try using that first name apart from just logging it. Maybe try manipulating it. I don't know. Try doing something with it. I'm not quite sure about that, but okay. Maybe
from where exactly? From the global scope or from the function scope? From where exactly are we trying to manipulate it from? Suppose the function is available. We know for a fact that the function is available. Because if whatever is bringing the error, if I remove this, we can see we're not getting an error from any of this console log. It's giving us the function. So it means we do have access to it before we use it. So now so we have access to it before we use it, before we declare it, not before we use it. So we can use it here and then we can declare it here. So the hoisting is working when you're using the function keyword, which I know is one of the parameters for hoisting. But with let and const, it was also supposed to, with var, it was supposed to also do it. I guess we need to do some research on that. I didn't know it does that. Up to like a few months ago, I think I did the same thing and it worked. That's weird. I think we can put a pause on that, because now we cannot even explain it properly. I feel like we can't, because it seems like the behavior has changed. That's odd. It's very weird. I think to save time, we'll revisit this section again, this let and const. I'll do some research and you guys can also do some research. And then we'll come back and like display our results.
Ian, when you call the function, does it output anything?
Okay, currently we are not returning anything, so let me return something first.
Yes. Return first name.
Should work kwa sababu first name siko kwa hiyo scope sasa. Let's see. And then if I now call it, I need to do it here actually. Working. It's right here. We have the value here. Yeah.
Okay.
That's really odd. I think we put a pause on this and then maybe even tomorrow we can come back with our findings. So hiyo ni homework ya kila mtu. Let's find out what's the difference between let, const, and var. I thought I knew, but clearly there's something off even with my understanding. So we can try to put a pause on it and then look at it tomorrow. See, that's fine. Because you can't explain it because the behavior is unexpected. So we can't even explain what is going on. Sounds okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let's.
And also, did you realize you can change the value of the object in a constant?
Yeah, that's because of the way that objects work.
Yeah.
It's not like primitive values. You're not actually changing the value. Because objects are by reference type, not by like the actual value. That's why you cannot say something like this. If I have two objects that has first name is Ian, and I have another one, if I simply take this and I try to console log, whether that object is equal to the same object, get a false value. Because it's not checking the values, it's not checking the first name value, it's checking by reference type, Mali, the memory location of those two objects. This behavior is not what you would expect, because the two objects are not stored in the same memory location. So obviously it's false. If you wanted it to be true now, you'd have to change both objects you have to stringify them and turn them into strings and then compare them. Then now it will give you a true value. But because we are comparing by reference type, it's looking at the memory location of this first object compared to the memory location of this other object, which obviously they're not the same. So that's why you can change when you're using const. If you have a const new person, that, and then you have the same thing, first name John, and then you say first name dot, sorry, new person dot first name, new person dot first name is equal to Mike, and then you simply console log the value here. New person you can see ndio hii hapa. It's changed the value because, right, you're not actually changing this object yote, you're just changing, like una change to a part of it yenye iko ndani yake. Possible because of in terms of reference type. Not the same as doing const first name directly is equal to Ian, and then you try to reassign it again, itakata, because of the way you're comparing the two things. This is actually the value, the actual value, which is Ian. The actual value is what you're changing. It's not a reference to the values. But hapa kwa new person, you're not changing the new person at the actual object itself. It's just a reference to that object. That's why that's why it's working even if you use const. And that we were supposed to cover it sometime this week. But I think it's a nice observation. We'll talk more about it. You know, the reference type and the primitive values.
Yeah, and before,
does someone have?
Yes, I have a question. So in our function, they say hello. What if we, you do console log first name, and then now you declare the variable. No, like inside the function.
Here. I do console log.
No, before you do it before you. Yes. No. It's still inside before the variable.
You mean
yes.
Here.
Yes. And then now you call first name. It gives undefined.
No. That's above 8.6. It's still undefined. And if I remove this.
So based on MDN documentation, they're saying that you can access variable before it's declared. The value is always undefined because only its declaration is hoisted, but not it's initialized. Not before it's initialized. What Albert was saying, actually.
Now, what is the use case for that hoisting now that we know that we can access only the name, but we cannot access the value?
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah, but to me, there's no point. That is why I wanted us to try and use it, maybe in a calculation or something. But by just console logging it, we're already using it. So I don't see the point. But for the function, for the function, it is working because you can actually use the function. You can call the function with parameters and all that.
Yeah.
But I think what happens with JavaScript it executes in a like in executes kutoka juu hadi chini. So by the time inakuja inapata console.log first name, it doesn't give a defined because it's empty, and then it comes to check, it will then find the value is here, but already before it itakuwa compare undefined.
See, that argument does not hold water because you can do it with functions. You can, even before you declare them, you can still access them. So yes, JavaScript is single-threaded and it executes like kutoka juu mpaka chini. It's synchronous. But you see, the say hello is accessible before we actually declare it. We can find this one. Let me refresh again. Now where did it go? It's this letter hapa because I'm logging what's an itoe because now it's getting confusing. It's this value here. So it means yes, it is executing line by line kutoka juu mpaka chini, but when it encounters the function keyword, it puts anything inside here at the top of the execution context. Think of it like a book. Okay, so when it's going through your JS engine, when it's going through the code, when it encounters something that has the function keyword, and I thought even var, but you do some research on it. When it encounters hiyo kitu yenye kona function, that function keyword, it puts it on line 1. Yani inaiweka huko juu before it even executes the function. So by the time you're executing the function, you already have that say hello in your memory, already equal. That's why it's working. And that's why I thought even vars work. But nikama it changed. So think about it like that. Before it executes your function, you say hello, it already has it in its context. Equal already. So we have a reference to that function. So think about it even like in terms of a book. It goes through the code, looks for anything that needs to be hoisted, puts it at the top of your execution context before executing anything. Before actually calling the function. It's not actually doing it at apana. This is going to be hoisted on top of your execution context. Then it's going to call the function, call stack, execute it, and then finish. So that's what actually happens. But we'll go through like execution context and hoisting in more detail because I even have someone created a very nice visualization of how the whole thing works. So we'll go through it. It's one of those very confusing topics, but also very important. Okay, I think we need to move on. Tutashinda hapo mpaka kesho. It's already 6:30, 6:20. So, Roy, it seems like your topic was very complex. we will.
Me hata siamini tumetake that long Navana.
That whole time just talking about let and cons and why. What? Okay, we'll do some research this water, and then tomorrow we can come back with whatever we find. See, that sounds like a plan.
Okay, and then the last thing, Ian. For instance, when you come and say first name equals to Ian, and then you console.log first name, and then below it you come and say var first name. Can that work?
We console log where outside the function.
Yeah. Okay. Just go on another line.
Inside the function or outside the function?
It's just another thing that I've thought of. I'm trying to do some research and seeing that you can you declare, not declare, you initialize the variable and then you declare it later now using it as a let console var keyword. Yeah.
Because now I'm even confused because I know for a fact that with var, the way nilikuwa naelewa, var is normally hoisted up inawekangwa kwa the global scope, even if you declare it inside of a function. Let is also hoisted, but inakuanga hoisted within its execution context. So for example, kwa scope yake, if you had a let here, it will be hoisted to the top of its scope. So inakujanga hapa juu, not hapa juu ya global. It comes to the top of this function. That's how I used to understand it. But sasa, based off of what we have, it's different. Wacha tuangalie kesho because we may end up talking about it kesho.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. But thank you, Roy. Thank you. Okay, so who was to go next? Let me see. Let's see. I think it's Nelson.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, let me stop presenting and then you can proceed. Sorry guys, I know that we've taken a long time, but I think tumelan vitu mingi sana. Turns out nobody knows JS. See, I told you, Roy and Ian, I told you. Told at the beginning of the call. Okay, let's start. You can go ahead, Nelson.
Okay, so mine was to talk about the structuring and the spread operator. So I'll just start with the structuring in arrays and objects. So the structuring is basically just unpacking what you have in an array, like accessing those elements of an array and storing them in different variables. And similarly to the objects, now for the objects, we do use the keywords. That is the, I don't know, call it the properties. The keyword, we have a key value pair, so we use the keyword to access the value. And so that, okay, I don't know if I'm kind of confusing. I don't prepare well, so kama mtu atakuja na comment baadaye, I'll appreciate it. So maybe I can just start with the arrays. I'll use this one in Mandikapa, const numbers. So I'll just start like, let me just take away this one first. So we have an array of numbers like from 1 to 4. So let's say we want to access each element of this array separately. What we can do, let's say we want to access the first element of the array and store it in a value. What we can do is we use the const. Okay,
listen, sorry to interrupt. Can you zoom in?
Okay. Iko sawa?
Maybe zoom in a bit more. Yeah, iko sawa sasa.
Okay, so when you're destructuring an array, first of all, whatever is of variables you end up store, you must use the brackets that correspond those like the data, like for array, we use the square bracket. So when you want to destructure it, first of all, you use the curly brackets so that you can store those variables in that curly brackets, and then on this other side, that is now when you assign the array. So we have the like const numbers. Now we have it on the right side as the value. So let's say you want to access the first element in that array and store it in a value. What you can do is just do like num1. When you console log num1, that is num1, not num1. So let me just clear first. We get the first element, that is 1 from the array. So one thing when you're destructuring the arrays, the order of creating this variable matters. Like the first one, obviously itachukua the first one. Ukiweka a second variable hapa hivi, let's say num2, it shall pick the second one, this one. You can just go ahead and log it as well. Tuone itatupa nini. So then we are getting 1 and 2, the first 2 elements of the array. But then what if you want to access, let's say, the third element, but you want to bypass ya pili? Now, that is where now we use the commas to get the target that you want. So let's say I want this number 2 to be 4 or 3. Let me just use 3 for the time being. So what I can just do, I'll use a comma, just a comma, to represent the number in najaribu skip. So kama like from here, we shall have 1. Then this comma skips the second one, and then you shall get the third one. So if I just save and run it, we are getting the first element and the third element of the array. Similarly, unaweza like you add another comma to get the fourth one. You also console log. Apart you have 1 and 4. as num1 and num2. Similarly, let's say you want to get the first element and the rest you just want them to stay in an array, another array. So we have this, now this way we have another, like we use the concept of the, let me just say kind of a spread operator, but it's used as rest. And to need to say like the rest of the element is what we are like stored under the other value. So like you can say we want to get the first number, but the other ones we shall just store them. Let's say, let me just give it any other variable. When we try and console log num1 on the array, what we shall get is the first value, and the 2, 3, and 4 shall be in a separate array. So let's see. You can see the first value is separate, then 2, 3, and 4 is in another array. So this one, this spread operator, which is used as rest, could represent the rest of the elements zenye unataka kuweka, maybe zenye, let's say haujui idadi yake ama haujui, you're not that concerned with them, just want them to be in a separate array. So I use the spread operator, but it works as the rest. So kama when you mesoma about spread operator, I guess you understand what I'm trying to say. So that is for destructuring an array. So I'll just go to the objects. So
a quick question before you go on. So
okay,
what if you want to store the first 2 elements in a different array, and then the other 2 elements in a different array? What happens?
The first 2 elements in a different array?
Yes, you just basically want to divide this into 2 arrays.
Okay, so maybe basically according to my thinking, I can use, maybe there's this array method called slice. So I'll probably use that one for splitting the arrays into two, like, actually I can use the slice and splice, but since slice is not destructive, I can go with that. Now, I can also use splice, but splice is destructive, like it mutates the original array. So basically that is what I can use, but I don't know come to another idea, because as for the while destructuring, actually it's not about your like split an array, but just trying to access these elements in array. Actually, okay, you're kind of right, but I don't know actually the right answer I can give you. Maybe if somebody has an idea of that, we can try it out.
I think that we can call it rest. Is it rest or gradient?
Sorry.
To me, it sounds like he's doing a rest because the other values are being kept in an array.
Okay. The thing is, I ran into a situation where I got an array like this one, for example, and then I wanted to break it down into many arrays of 4. So I didn't know how to.
Yeah, you can't implement that with destructuring directly. You'll have to manipulate the way Nelson just said. You need to use either of those array methods, or you can use was that like a coding challenge question, or it's something you are trying to implement?
Now, so my to-do application was storing the its items in the local storage. So even if I have 2 to-dos, all the items it has to array moja.
Yeah, and you want to split them into.
Yeah. So for the to-do had like 4 sections. It had the title, and then it had a description, a date, and the time. So those are like 4 items for one to do.
Okay.
So I wanted to get the 4 of each, and then like separate them and then get them back now from the local storage.
So just like Nelson said, you can you can either implement it using either of those methods, arrays, by splicing or splice, or what's the other one? There's 2 of them.
Split.
One of them.
Yeah,
I use one.
I think you can also use spread. Actually, you did it yesterday. Yeah. So you want to manipulate, like in that case, right, of that to do, like you can spread the array and then just add that to do as an object at the end of that array. The way you did it yesterday, you remember?
Yeah, I remember, but I think what he's trying to do is you're trying to split them into equal sized arrays, Ama.
Yeah, I'm trying to get like some other like different arrays for each.
Okay, I think
I get don't want to mutate the original array, right?
Sorry?
I get what you
mean.
Maybe we can try it later after he's finished presenting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can walk through it.
Maybe introducing the concept ya rest hapo ndo maybe imechanganya, because I guess whatever that guy is trying to say ni about your spread operator.
Yeah.
Like sasa hiyo ku add an element in an array maybe kind of.
Yeah.
But this one you're trying to destructure an array, like one pack, whatever is in that array.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I'll just go to the objects. So what about the objects? So we can destructure the object using the key name of the value that you want to store. As for, let's say this book object, let's say you want to store the title, the heroes, in a variable. So while we are destructuring, just like a similar concept to your arrays, since it's an object, you understand that you have to make the curly bracket. So while you are trying to destructure, you use the curly bracket. So it's still like the variables, let's say now the title. Like in a file, in those curly brackets, and then on this other side, on the right side, now the value the object itself. So kama ni book. So when you try to console log the like title, we'll have the heroes printed on the screen, on the terminal, I mean. So another thing about destructuring the objects. So ukiangalia kama for the arrays, like kama unataka access the first element, you need to use like the first number actually, like represent the first variable represents the first element. Like sasa the order matters. But when you come to the objects, let's say unataka access the author first and then the title. So you can just come here, weke author, then the title. You try and console log the author. Itakuwa na any error, we shall just still get the author, that is Mr. Sam. And again, similarly, let's say uko na a nested on any object. Let's say kama, I don't know, kama this author, maybe tungamua tuweke something like nested. Let's say you want to get the name of the author, maybe their address. They can do just like name. Then we have the address. For nama whatever, let me just use Nairobi. Well, you can still destructure and get these values, this name and address. What you just need to do is like, since unajua the author is a key and it has a value as another like a nested object. Now is the value of that author. What you just need to do, like the way you traverse through objects, just need to add the author key ukumusha nini while you're assigning the value to the structure. Like sasa itakuwa book.author. That means you can be able to access now the name and the address. And then you can try and console log them. So bado tunapata the name of the author, na pia tunaweza kuja tukajaribu their address. Tunapata address yao kama Nairobi. So one thing about dissociating the objects, lazima this, like okay, let's say when you are assigning the variables, they must match the keys zenye ziko in that object. So for instance, kama this one, let's say kama nataka to assign the title, the hero's your title to a variable. What you need to use is ni kama the variable name inafaa iko the title. Similarly, hapa vile tumefanya the name of the author like Mr. Sam, we cannot use something different like sasa tuseme kama first name ama F name. We shall get an error. We must use the keys, the key name zenye zinatumika in the object. I guess that's what I can say about destructuring the objects na arrays. Sijui kama mtakuwa na swali hapo hivyo. Niende kwa spread operator.
So if you wanted to access the address alone, utaka tu comma. Yes.
Yeah, just utaka tu address peke yake.
Okay.
But this term ikwe huko kwingine. Like it goes as a key name kwa hizi properties of this book.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so log it tutapata we have the address key naipata as Nairobi. So let me just use one. So any other question about the structuring of this array? Okay. So I'll just go to the spread operator. So let's start with the spread operator with the arrays. So kama mlikuwa mnaona jana, was it yesterday when we were adding a book? There's a time when alikuwa na get like the book stored in kwa hiyo the local storage, then I store in an array, and like anaipea a variable name. But when akitaka add another new book, anatumia a spread operator to add a new book kwa hiyo that array. So what basically spread operator does with an array, so let's say tuko na just use const names. So we have an array of names that is John Doe. So we want to create another array of that like equal at the same elements and use this names array. So let me just create const. Let's give it more names. What can we do? Let's say we want to copy whatever in this the names in the first array, that is the names array, and have it stored in the second array, which is more names. What I can do is just like using the spread operator, just the 3 dots, and then I just pass in the name of the array, and that is the name. So from there, if I want to add any other element in that array, I'm just go ahead and type in maybe another name, Kim. So let me just first of all console log the 2 of them. So we will note some differences to console log these arrays out. The first array itabakia with the 2 names, but the second array itabakia with the nini, itakuwa with 3 names. We have John Doe, alafu kuna John Doe na Kim. So one thing you need to know about spread operator, it's not destructive. Like I mutate the original array, it leaves the original array hivyo. It just creates a shallow copy. ya the original array. So kitu inajaribu kumanipulate ni the shallow copy. It leaves alone the original array. So but sasa that is where the difference ya push na spread operator na kujanga. Like kama ningekuwa nimetumia like more names alafu nikuje niweke more names equal like names dot like okay, I copy the like let me just do it. Equal something like more names is equals to names. Then I do like more names dot push. What you'll notice like both of them zitakuwa na the 3 elements. So you can see like John Doe Kim, John Doe Kim. So that means like this one, it's just mutating the original array using the push. But with the spread operator, basically what it does is just create a shallow copy, then a shallow copy ndio inajaribu kumanipulate. And then okay, sijui kama mtu na swali hapo kwa arrays before niende kwa spread with the objects. Ama kitu yenye sijataja ama sijaguzia.
I think you've explained it well. Like at least on my part, nimeelewa. But I've also learned a few things.
Okay. So I'll just proceed to the next one. So now, twende kwa spread operator with more objects. Similarly, spread operator pia inatumika kwa objects. But sasa it has some little deviation ama some differences with how it's used in an array. Let's just create a person object. Name John Doe. And let's say age 5. We have an object, a person object that has the properties kama name and age. Let's say we want to create another object with the name. Let's say this person is called just John. Since tunajua John age yake ni name yake ni John Doe na age yake ni 45. You can just go ahead and copy using the spread operator, that is the 3 dots, with the name of the object itself. You can just copy the items from. That is the person. Then let's say we want to add some other items to John. Let's say his address. Maybe as well. When you try and console log the name John, let me just console log both of them. Let's start with person. You see you have the name and on the age 45, and then similarly just like an array, it does not mutate the first object. It just leaves the way it is. What it does is just create a shallow copy. And your shallow copy in a manipulate. So we have now John with his address added on as Nairobi. So what if you have let's say let's say this person, we want to change the age, but we want to keep the name. And you also want to add the location. What you can just do like age, 67. So what it does basically, haitachukua this age alafu iongeze like ikue age ziko hapa mbili. As you know, an object cannot have 2 keys with a similar name. Like sasa age 67 again age 45. That cannot be that is not how objects zinakuanga. What it does, Kama the first object has a similar key as the second object, and whatever you're trying to copy, like, yeah, they both have the same key and they both have the key name as edge, but sasa the second object has a different value for that key. Whatever it will do, it will just change the value of the key. So if I try and console log it again, let me just save it. The first John Doe, his age is 45. The age is 45. Then the second John Doe, the age is 67. So it didn't like haiko kappa like age 45 again, age 47, age 67. It just changes the value of that key. And then okay, sijui kama kuna kitu nimesahau about any spread operator na objects. Maybe kama mtu anaweza add on before niende kwa the functions one. Kama swali. Okay. So I'll just go to the last one, the functions. As happened, the spread operator is just like kind of a rest. Let's say you have an array of numbers. Equals to 1, 2. And then to match, just comment out this one. Let's say you write a function here to add the numbers. Whatever you pass in, you want you pay the sum of those numbers in that array. Just like this. Okay. Hapa kidogo nimechanganyikiwa, sijui kama mtu anasaidia kidogo. But what I know is like the rest ukitumia hapa like let's say you pass in the numbers. Let's say num1. Let me just give it something different. First and second. I'm not sure kama naongea to the right thing, so nikikosea mtu ananikosoa tu. Then maybe I want to add those two numbers, so return first, second. Then since let's say you want your function to allow more than that, just two numbers. Like you can call that function, you can invoke that function, calls G, I don't know the right time of kutumia. Want it to take even more than just two numbers. It can either take two or more. So that is where you use the spread operator as rest, and just to represent the rest, of which they're now structured stored in an array. So I'll just use the rest as numbers. And then you can just go ahead and add numbers as well. So I don't know how it work as expected, but I stand to be corrected. So console.log add, and I'll just pass in the first number as 2, second number 4, then the third one is just the numbers now, this array. So basically I haven't given me something different like rest. Let me just change it, please, for confuse. So this rest doesn't come in and represent this array of numbers. So let me hope it works as expected. Okay. I don't know kama iko sawa because I can see this is a weird behavior. 61, 2, 3, 4. Which
I think I can assist.
Yeah.
I remove first and second.
Okay.
Like I know what you're trying to do. Maybe let's see what whether it's the same. In the arguments.
And argument.
You remain with the rest, like remain with the rest. Like line 54. Line 54.
For the parameters, okay.
Yeah, like say you want to be able to do a sum of whichever number of arguments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll return that rest in an array, then maybe you can use reduce to do the sum. Then whichever number of arguments you pass in, you'll just get the sum automatically.
So just like itapena to the sum without any issue.
Yeah, now asifanya saa hapo ndani return
hapa
return array, then you spread rest inside again. Like you're spreading the arguments as an object now, like as an array. And then you can do the reduce now. So like whichever amount of arguments you pass in, it will just give you the sum. Reduce, yeah, like in the return, continue. And then you can say accumulate add a double C and then current.
So then just accumulator.
Yeah, the current. Then you just return accumulator and current. I think I hope this is what you're trying to showcase, because like you can get the arguments of a function as an array using the spread operator.
But then, okay, I don't know. Rarely do I use it, so somebody wait. I don't know, that's weird. Maybe just not to take a lot of time. So you can just research on it. And then
you're supposed to pass them not as an array, like as numbers. Just like do 1, 2, 3, for example, instead of like an array. Or spread the array there. You can also spread the numbers there.
Oh yeah. Okay, I do not have a good understanding about this one. Maybe time to discuss as officially with Ian. Maybe talk on enough research and then we can cover it in a better way. So I don't know kama mtu ako na swali before I stop sharing.
I have a small addition. Addition. I'm going to go destructuring an object. So by the way, I'm explaining it vizuri. For arrays, you can name your variables anything. A good example of implementation of this is like useState in React. So no longer you destructure 2 values from useState.
Yeah.
So it's basically a function that returns an array, and you can give it whichever name: count, product, set count, set products. But for object, you can only destructure the key. But on top of that, you can like do an alias of that key. For example, if it's so generic, maybe you're getting back data from like an API, you can rename that data to something specific. For example, products, you know. So you can just do a test with this address. You just add a colon and then the name that you want it to have. Like you can rename it in that way using an alias.
Like
line
a
24
column.
after address on line 24.
Yeah.
Now you can give it whichever name you want.
And just do something like add. That way.
Yeah, but now it will be accessible using that add variable.
Okay, spelled out.
And a very perfect implementation of this for people that have done React is use it. Like it's returning a function and a value, you know, inside from a function, like inside like an array.
Okay, yeah, it works. Still get the address.
Yeah, but you've done a good job in explaining.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was very well done. I think Katamimi have learned a lot of things. This like some of these concepts are ES6 always confuse me, so I always find myself going back to the documentation. So that has definitely cleared up a lot of stuff. Yeah, so good job, Nelson. That was very well done.
Okay.
Yeah, very well explained. And then you were getting a weird when you tried to do it initially, when you were trying to say num1 plus num2, and then you were, I think you are trying to now spread out. You're trying to use rest to get the other values. You are getting a very weird response. I think you are getting, was it 6? And then I don't know, 1, 4, 2. I think it was trying to concatenate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think it was trying to. It would add your numbers, your two numbers, and then it would concatenate the rest of your elements in the array. But I think Joseph's implementation was nice.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you very much. That was a very nice presentation. So as you can see, we are out of time. I think we've spent a lot of time on let and var and const. Funny enough, I think JS is always shocking us. So kesho, since we don't have any more time, it's already 7 p.m. So the rest of the presentations, you guys can do them tomorrow. Because if we say we try to finish them now, tutamaliza saa tatu. And obviously time is important. We're trying to keep time. So kesho, we can proceed. And also, we can all do research in terms of your mambo ya hoisting. I think we might dedicate like 20 minutes just talking about kwanza hoisting and scoping and hizo vitu zote. So you guys do your research, and then kesho, we all come together and just discuss what we found out about that whole spectrum for let, const, var, hoisting. Then we'll have a discussion around it. And then sasa kesho, I think the first person to go tomorrow is Fatma. I think. Yeah, it's Fatma. So Fatma, tomorrow you're going to go first. We just follow the list that we have. But for today, let's stop at that point. Alafu we can resume tomorrow. But that was a very nice session. I think we've all learned a lot of things today. Number one, we don't know JavaScript. So tomorrow will come, but it's been fun. Tomorrow will come. We discuss again, then we proceed with the other topics. I don't know about you guys, but I think I really enjoyed today's session, especially when we were very confused, all of us. It was nice. Yeah, so Fatma and Eunice and Pauline and the rest, we will present tomorrow. Sawa? Is that okay? Okay. All right. Right, so allow us to end the call. Ian, you want to say something?
Yes. Sijui, maybe you can unaweza baki nyuma unisaidie hiyo stuff because nakwama mahali niko sijui kwa na time.
Okay, I think we can look at it. I think Joseph, if you want, you can also stay back, or anybody else who wants to help out Ian with his code. you can stay back. So now you guys are free to leave if you want. If you want, we can all help Ian solve his issue. I'll even stop recording at this point. So there you can leave if you want. But thank you for joining. Ian, you can show us what you have.
So just a minute.